What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that is the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that it helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video out through the YouTube algorithm. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends to inform them on this news and information. And it does also give me a slight boost in YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we are headed to CNN studios. And the reason we're going to CNN studios is because CNN recently put out a new poll that I know it hurt their heart to have to put this out and admit this on television, on national television to the nation. But in a new CNN poll, they had to tell the truth and admit that Trump is crushing Biden. Trump is crushing Biden. There's just no way around it. And they had to admit this on national television. It's really looking like Biden is going to need some of that 2020 magic. He's going to need some of that 2020 magic again, some of that magic where one guy is in the lead when you go to bed at night and they have a pretty hefty lead. And then when you wake up in the morning like that, alakazam, Biden wins. he's gonna need some of that magic again because it's looking bad. So let's get into some of the graphics right now as it pertains to how bad it's looking. I want to play a little bit of the CNN clip and then show you guys a couple of other data points as well. But let's jump into this first.
And Priscilla, we're also getting some new polling out today on the 2024 race. Walk us through what this means for the president.
Well, it's still very much a close race, but again,
it's not a close race, but you know, if you tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself, I guess.
Again, Donald Trump showing in these polls that he continues to hold an advantage over President Joe Biden. Now, according to these numbers that you see there on your screen, 49% of registered voters choose Donald Trump, and then only 43% for Biden. Now, earlier in the year, Biden's numbers were around 45%. So those numbers are holding steady.
Those numbers are not holding steady. If earlier in the year he was at 45% and he slid down to 43%, meanwhile, Trump is maintaining at 49%. He's not holding on steady. He's falling off, and he's falling off badly. These people are delusional at CNN. It's crazy. The delusion is out of control.
And there are issues that are dogging the president and that his team is well aware of. Now, you've seen the protesters that have been happening across campuses, and according to our polling here, there is major disapproval over the president's handling of the Israel-Hamas war, with 71% disapproving. And
now, 71% disapprove, but the number you really have to pay attention to is the young vote. We're 81% between the ages of 18 and 34 disapprove. That is a major blow, especially in a race that was supposed to be a very close and tight one, where they're supposed to be neck and neck. Outside of the fact that he's having trouble with the black vote, then you have the young vote. It's just pretty much looking as if it's going to be non-existent at this point the further we go along, and also as well, the more the conflict in the Middle East continues as well, it's just going to get worse and worse for Biden with the young vote. So it's just looking really bad for him, and I really don't see any way that it actually gets better. It doesn't matter that we're 6 months away. Some people can argue that there's time to make this stuff up, but I don't see how Biden makes up any of this. I don't see how he makes any progress moving forward. I really don't see how he makes any progress moving forward. I only see things getting worse for him.
And then two is the economy, and this has been.
Let me rewind that back just a little bit.
Percent disapproving. And then two is the economy. And this has been an issue that the White House and the Biden campaign have tried to convey to voters that it is heading in the right direction. But we are still seeing in these numbers that there is still quite a bit of hesitation over whether that's indeed true, with registered voters here only 34% approving of the president's handling of the economy.
The reason people are questioning so-called Bidenomics and are calling it out for being nonsense and foolish, and as she said, people are questioning if this progress is even true, is because there's what I normally refer to as, and it's a Malcolm X quote, and I say this often in my live streams. I talk about a victory that you can talk about, but a victory that you can't show me. And what that is it's a victory that exists on paper. These are victories that exist on paper, but victories that do not exist in real life. That's what Malcolm X said, by a victory with no victory, a victory that you can talk about, but a victory that you can't show me. Because when they're talking about Bidenomics and they're trying to sell the people on how great the economy is doing, it sounds good on paper. 60% this, 30% that, this is down 25%, that's up 60%. On paper, it sounds amazing. But in real life, none of us are seeing it. In real life, we're still getting killed at the gas pump. In real life, we're still getting killed at the grocery store. In real life, we're all still struggling to get by financially, some more than others. And even if you're not struggling to get by, you're still seeing it affect your bank account pretty hefty. Me personally, I have to say I'm blessed. I truly do. I truly do. That doesn't mean, though, that does not mean that I'm not aggravated and cringing every time I go to the grocery store and slide my debit card down the debit card machine. Regardless of how blessed that I am, and trust me, I am, when I slide my debit card in that machine to pay for my groceries, I'm still cringing because it's ridiculous how much it costs to go to the grocery store and feed a family of four. I'm talking about, you just go to buy some fruits and vegetables, and a couple of fruits and vegetables alone is costing you about $40. It's insane. So that's why none of this stuff is sticking, because once again, it's a victory with no victory, as Malcolm X said. It's a victory that you can talk about, but a victory that you can't show me. It's a victory that only exists on paper, but in real life, it's non-existent. Now, let's get into a couple of other data points from that poll as well, and then we're going to close this thing out. I want to show you guys quite a few things. Look at this right here, right? Trump's presidency was a success among U.S. adults. That's what the question is. In January of 2021, 86% of Republicans said Donald Trump's presidency was a success. Now 92 say it was a success. In January of 2021, only 44% of independents said Donald Trump's presidency was a success. Now 51% say it was a success. And shockingly here, on January of 2021, only 3% of Democrats said Donald Trump's presidency was a success. Now, at the present day, 24% of Democrats, 24% are saying Trump's presidency was a success. After going through 3 to now 4 years of Biden, Democrats are looking back now and going, yeah, man, we were doing a lot better under Trump. And that's scary, because that number should not be that high. That jump should not have been that large of a jump from 3 to 24%. Maybe 3 to 6%, 3 to 7%, somewhere still in the single digits, but they went way outside of the single digits, not just to 10, 11, 12, but to 24. It is getting scary out here for Biden, very scary out here for Biden. And let's go through a couple of other points as well. As you can see here, choice of president among registered voters. Now, we all saw this earlier. 49% of registered voters are favoring Trump over Biden at 43%, with those who are unsure at 8%. But let's take a look at the polling numbers when you factor in everyone. When you factor in RFK Jr., when you factor in Cornel West, when you factor in, what's her name from the Green Party, Jill Stein, I believe. When you factor everybody in, how does Biden fare against Trump? In a straight head-to-head, Trump was winning by 6 points. But look at this here. When you factor in everyone, Biden doesn't have a chance. Trump now has a 9-point lead over Biden, with 42% for Trump, 33% for Biden, 16% for Kennedy, 4% for West, and 3% for Stein. His chances actually go up 3 extra points from 6% from 6 points to 9 points higher. Like I said, Biden is going to need some of that 2020 magic. He's going to need some of that I went to sleep and woke up and Biden won magic again. He's going to need it again if he's going to win, according to these polls. And I know polls aren't everything, and I know polls can be wrong. And a lot of times they are wrong at times. But the fact that this is coming out from CNN, they're having to admit this themselves. To me, it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes as to what's really going on out here. And here's one last polling number, percentage point thingy that I want to bring up to you guys is this right here. Opinion on presidencies among U.S. adults. For Trump, 55% said Trump's presidency was a success among U.S. adults. Only 39% said Biden's presidency was a success. 55 said Trump was a success. Only 39% said Biden was a success. It's once again, I keep saying the same thing, but I just don't see a path to victory for Biden. I don't see a path to victory at all for him. And I want to pull this up on the screen before we head out of here. I was going to read some of this article off, but I'm not going to, for the sake of time, but I will leave the link to this article in the description box below, as well as the link to the CNN video so you can watch it in its entirety, because the CNN video is about 8 minutes long, but I just didn't play the whole thing. If you read this article here, just in a nutshell, and if I remember correctly, it's from Politico. The article is titled "The Media is All Wrong About Biden's Poor Polling." The point that they were making in this article is that Biden was never popular. He was never popular. The people never liked Biden. On no level was he ever popular. And to be honest with you, and now the article didn't get into what I'm going to say now, but this is just, my thoughts on it. And I've said it before in the live stream, in my live streams. And this way, you got to make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live. And follow me on Telegram as well at TD Media Group, right? So you know when I'm going live. But I've said this in my live streams a handful of times, and I'll say this now in closing. C-19 is what did Trump in. And all the fear surrounding it is what did Trump in. If you remove C-19 from the equation, outside of Biden's 2020 magic, if you remove C-19 from the equation, I think Trump wins the election handedly, without issue. But all the fear that surrounded C-19 and the way that the Democratic Party, I have to give it to them when it comes to fear mongering. They are phenomenal at fear mongering. They are phenomenal at it. And the way they were pushing the fear surrounding C-19 and the idea that if you put Trump back in office again, he's going to get us all killed was masterful. I remember Kamala Harris. I don't remember what talk show that she was on, but out of her own mouth, she stated that if Trump makes the medicine, right? She said if Trump makes it, she's not going to take it because she doesn't trust it if Trump makes it. As if Trump was going to be actually making the medicine himself out of Mar-a-Lago. Like, that sounds completely ridiculous, right? But those were the words that actually came out of her mouth. She said this. The fear mongering. And another thing too, and I'll say this in closing, because this video is running a little bit longer than what I had wanted. I will never forget. It was maybe about a month before the election or something like that. We'll say a month before the election in 2020. And Trump was talking about how he wanted to open up the economy. He said, we need to open America back up. We need to open up the economy. We need to get things rolling again and essentially do away with the lockdowns, right? We got to get things rolling again. And the DNC media just referred to him as being crazy. This man is crazy. He wants to open up the economy in the middle of this illness that is seemingly taking everybody out. This guy is trying to get us all killed. He's trying to get us all killed, they were saying. That's what they were saying about him. Now we get to the election in November. Biden works his magic. Alakazam, he won. Go figure. And not even like a week into his presidency in January, Biden says we have to open up the economy up. We have to get America back open again. And we have to open up New York City. America's back in business. And the same media outlets that 3 months prior were saying that Trump was crazy for wanting to open the economy up. Now, 3 months later, we're saying that Biden is right. You know what I mean? So when it comes to, once again, the fear mongering that surrounded the illness, yeah, they did a masterful job at promoting that fear to drive people out to vote for Biden, but I believe this time around, Biden's karma is a migrant crisis. And that's what's really going to do him in this time. On top of a handful of other things, the migrant crisis is crushing Biden. But I'll get into that a little bit later. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news. Please make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And also make sure you follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link is in the description box below, as well as pinned in the comment section as well. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.